Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Shields.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports. Now, when Urban Meyer and Ohio State heard about a 6'7", 285-pounder in South Dakota who could run like a back but blocks like a bulldozer, they didn't waste any time before making him an offer. In fact, they gave him that offer before he even set foot at one of their camps. Now, Grant considered a handful of BCS schools, but in the end decided on Columbus, Ohio as his future home. Here's more from the rough and tough rider from Roosevelt. Out! Grant Schmidt looms large on a very talented Roosevelt roster. He's been on the Division I radar ever since he was a sophomore because of his elite size and speed combination. The offers from big-time colleges started coming in when Washington State offered him early in the recruiting process.
Well, there's a lot of schools in the mix. I really liked Washington State. They were my first BCS offer. I got that offer about a month after I got one from SDSU. And I really liked it out there. It was a really nice place out there. I liked Minnesota and Iowa State also. But Ohio State was just the winner out of those bunch because I just went out there and I loved it. So
Grant's decision to wear the scarlet and gray came early this summer, but he knows that the cardinal and gold are the colors that he's focused on right now.
The reason I decided is so we can just focus on our season this last senior year, because it's the last senior year I'll have in high school. I still play for Roosevelt. You know, I'm not playing for Ohio State yet, and I didn't want recruiting to be this huge distraction in the middle of the season. You have to, you know, maybe miss a practice or two to take a visit. I didn't want to do that. So.
Grant Schmidt joins a growing trend of South Dakota natives joining the FBS ranks. Despite South Dakota's small population, Grant thinks the top-level players are able to get noticed now.
And I think if you take a look at like the top 5 players, I don't think there's going to be that huge of a gap. You got Farniak at Washington, he's doing pretty good, and even the last couple of years you've had Nate Gary and Matt Vandenberg, who have both done well so far at a high level. So I think the talent here is really going to pick up, and so is the recruiting, just because people realize what we have here. So
the recruiting trail can be stressful, especially trying to improve his national ranking. But once he got a bite from Ohio State, the pressure fell right off of his shoulders.
But yeah, it was stressful because I didn't have a ton of offers, especially from some schools that I wanted to. So I was happy when I got that Ohio State one, and it kind of let go a little bit. So.
All right, Jason, when you take a look at his measurables, pretty easy to see why the Buckeyes, among other FBS programs, were interested in Grant Schmidt. But other than the numbers, what are some strengths and weaknesses for this kid?
Well, he's very good at technique, and he actually was praised that his high school coaches have coached him very well at Roosevelt for his technique on the field, and he's so quick that they feel that they can add some strength to him, and that is the weakness, I guess, is that he needs to add pure strength to go from the level that he's playing at now to a Big Ten situation where you're going against several 300-pounders, not trying to stop ultra-quick guys from Lincoln or Washington or O'Gorman. You're trying to just stop big guys from going up the middle. So that's what he's going to have to work on, upper body strength, but he's very good at technique, very good athlete for an offensive tackle.
And you got to believe once they get him into a strength and conditioning program like the one at Ohio State and all the money, the resources that they have available to them, it's not going to be a problem.
He may not add a lot of weight, but he will add a lot of strength, that's for sure.
That's a huge thing at that level, for sure. Well, he's been dinged up a little bit. He got hurt in the first game of the season, did come back and play last week, but overall, how's that ankle doing?
Well, he did come back and play that last week, but he played on defense only. They told me he was available for both offense and defense, but they felt like they could just use him best on defense as he's trying to rehab that ankle and get totally 100% before they hit the middle of the season. So it is going to be an issue. They're going to take care of him, but he can play both sides of the line, which he's never done before this year. He's been a strictly offensive tackle, so good to see that he's got some versatility this year and can actually play on defense.
And certainly Kim Nelson and staff are going to be cautious with him, knowing what lies in front of him. These guys are not in the business of jeopardizing opportunities for this kid. The whole goal is to get them this chance, and so certainly everybody's going to be looking out for his best interests on a personal level. All right, let's move on, Jason. Just real quickly, Let's take a look at some of the top performers from last week, both North and South Dakota.
Yeah, let's start in South Dakota, where you see Mikey Daniel put up a 236-yard performance and 2 touchdowns. And then we don't talk a lot about some of the smaller schools, but Matt Johnson of Garrettson, a 4-touchdown performance at the 9-man level. So that was really good. And then we'll move to North Dakota. When you look at what North Star is doing, they can pass the ball, folks. Alex Weston hauled in 11 catches, 199 yards, converted 3 of those into touchdowns. His quarterback, Jaden Komrowski, did a great job, 17 of 24, 260 yards, and all 3 of those touchdowns. Here's a full list of some of the great performers.
All right, there were a bunch of great plays in the high school gridiron last week, but only a fortunate few were good enough to earn a second look. Find out if this one made the list of Jandy-approved plays right after this.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by AE Tech Electrical Training Center in Rapid City.